Google's latest smartphone offering has arrived, and it's LG that's manufacturing it this time around. Let's take a closer look at the Nexus 4. With a spec sheet that includes a 1.5 GHz Cray quad-core processor, an Adreno 320 GPU, 2 gigs of RAM, the latest 4.2 Jelly Bean OS, Google's Nexus branding, and the best of all, a very attractive price tag, the Nexus 4 seems poised to take the smartphone market by storm. The Nexus 4 is 133.9mm long, 68.7mm wide, and 9.1mm thick. Theoretically, it is a little on the thicker side because the two main phones that it will be competing with, the iPhone 5 and the Galaxy S3, are both slimmer at 7.6 and 8.6mm respectively. It also weighs a little more than the two at 139 grams. But then again, these are just numbers and it isn't really fair to compare the 4.7-inch Nexus 4 with the 4-inch iPhone 5, and as far as the Galaxy S3 goes, being a Galaxy S3 user myself, the Nexus 4 doesn't really feel any different in day-to-day usage. The build quality also seems very good. We have Gorilla Glass 2 on top that curves onto the sides. On the back we have Gorilla Glass 2 again, covering what seems to be a holographic picture taken straight out of the Matrix. It is worth noting that while this gives the Nexus 4 a premium feel, at the end of the day, Gorilla Glass 2 is still glass and it is delicate, and this increases the odds of breaking something in case you drop your phone. Not to forget, it is a fingerprint magnet. On top, we have the mic and the 3.5mm headphone jack. To the right, we have the power button. At the bottom, we have the micro USB port, the other mic, and two X Pro screws. To the left, we have the micro SIM card slot and the volume rockers. We have chrome that runs all around the phone, and the sides have a rubbery feel to them that helps with the grip. The 8-megapixel camera and the LED flash are on the back. At the bottom, we find the speaker grill. On the front, the earpiece is pushed as high as possible. To its right sits the 1.3-megapixel front-facing camera. At the bottom, we have the LED notification light. Notice the lack of physical or capacitive buttons here. This is Google's phone after all, and software buttons are what Google envisions Android to be used with. This is worth keeping in mind when we look at the 4.7-inch display, since the software buttons will consume some real estate on screen. Talking about the display, the Nexus 4 features a gorgeous 4.7-inch True HD IPS Plus display with a 768 by 1280 pixel resolution. This puts the pixel density at 318 pixels per inch. To give you some perspective, the iPhone 5 and the Galaxy S3 have a pixel density of 326 and 306 pixels per inch respectively. The color reproduction is pretty good with pure whites without any hues. However, there is some slight discoloration at the extreme angles, though that's definitely not something that you would notice during day-to-day usage. The overall quality of the display is good, but feels a little washed out when compared to say the Super LCD 2 used in the HTC One X. The 8-megapixel camera on the back is pretty good and capable of shooting 1080p videos at 30 frames per second. You can also simultaneously shoot 1080p videos and take full 8-megapixel resolution photos. The flash is really bright, and we'll discuss more about the camera in the software section. The Nexus 4 comes with a regular host of connectivity options: Bluetooth 4.0, Wi-Fi ABGN, GPS and GLONASS for navigation, and so on. It also has NFC and full Google Wallet support. And for those who are wondering, there is no USB OTG support. This means you cannot plug in a flash drive or connect a USB keyboard or mouse with the Nexus 4. What's strange is that the Nexus 4 also chooses to use the slim port technology instead of MHL, which is currently being used on most major phones like the Galaxy S3, the Note 2 and so on. This means you will have to purchase slim port accessories if you want to mirror your Nexus phone onto your HD TV. Another thing to note here is that the Nexus 4 does not support LTE. You will have to settle for HSPA Plus if you decide to purchase this device. As for the battery, we have a non-user removable 2100 mAh battery powering the Nexus 4. You should be able to easily get through one whole day with moderate usage. It is also worth noting that the Nexus 4 supports wireless induction charging. The Nexus 4 comes in 8 and 16 gig variants costing $299 and $349 respectively. Usually, each Nexus device brings with its release a new flavor of Android. But that's not the case with the Nexus 4. While it does bring a new version of Android with it, Android version 4.2, it's still Jelly Bean. Android 4.2 has a lot of improvements over Jelly Bean 4.1. Turn on the Nexus 4 and the first thing you see is the new Android lock screen. You can now place as many as 5 different widgets that you can swipe between without having to unlock the phone. Swipe to the right and you launch the camera. Usually when you have a pattern or a passcode set and you try to launch the camera on say a Samsung phone, it will prompt you for the passcode first before opening up the camera. HTC on the other hand lets you launch the camera without any passcode requirements but prompts you for one when you try to review the pictures that you've taken. The Nexus 4 does you one better and lets you review the pictures that you've just shot, only prompting for the passcode when you try to access older pictures. The Google search bar is now fixed on top. There are 5 home screens for you to customize. If you want more or less, you'd have to use a third-party launcher. Creating a folder is as simple as tapping and holding an icon and dropping it over another. Open up the app drawer and you're greeted by a host of regular Google apps. There are no manufacturer or carrier apps here. The regular apps include Chrome as the default browser, Gmail, Play Music, Google Maps, and so on. Notice the only social networking app present is Google+. You need to download the Facebook and Twitter apps from the Play Store. While it's not a big deal, I just wanted to mention it. There is a separate tab for widgets and here you get previews of each widget. Touch and hold a widget and you can now place it on any home screen. An outline shows the space needed and the icons on the home screen move around to make room for the widget. The notification bar has also received a facelift. Just pull it down and you get your regular list of notifications. Tap over here and it takes you to a list of shortcuts. Over here, the airplane mode is the only toggle. The rest are just shortcuts to the settings menu, as in tap on Wi-Fi and it takes you to the Wi-Fi option in settings. It's worth noting that competitors like Samsung actually provide toggles in the notification bar instead of shortcuts to the menu. Alternatively, you can actually use 2 fingers to jump straight to the quick shortcuts. The camera has now been optimized for single-handed usage. You can tap to focus, or if you tap and hold, you actually get a host of options here. You can jump into settings, or the balance, or switch cameras, HDR mode, and so on. And HDR mode works pretty good. One of the most talked about features is the photosphere. It's nothing but a 3D version of panorama. So you can just go ahead and not only take side-by-side photos, but actually take a whole 3D perspective. So let me just quickly show you. So now I've just tapped this button and it actually stitches together all the photos that we took. Takes a few seconds for that. You can either view it as normal panorama, side by side, or you can tap this icon over here and you get a full 3D rendition. Well, it's not perfect, it's definitely a cool feature to have. The Nexus 4 camera also has the ability to shoot full HD video at 30 frames per second. And while you're shooting video, you can just tap on the screen to take a full 8 megapixel picture. And to check out what videos or pictures you shot, you just slide to the right and you get the film strip view. So over here you can check what videos or pictures that you've taken. Again, a nice little feature, and if you notice, even while you're checking the film strip view, the camera is still working in the background. You also get a host of post-processing options that you can apply to the pictures that you've taken. You also get gesture support for the keyboard, and you can now glide your finger from one letter to another, just like with the swipe keyboard. Android 4.2 also offers predictive text, and this in combination with gesture support makes typing on the Nexus 4 an awesome experience. Not to forget, you also get offline voice dictation. Google Nav has also been improved with Jelly Bean 4.2 on the Nexus 4. It's faster, more accurate, and predicts and provides more cards than ever before. The search bar also works great. It searches locally first within the phone before searching online. This is useful when you use the search bar to search for an app or a contact. A less talked about feature is Daydream. This is basically a screensaver mode with conditions. That is, you can set it to turn on when the device is either docked or being charged, or both. You can set it to display pictures, that is photo frame, or a collage of pictures, that is photo table. It is worth noting that it will even pull pictures from Picasa and Google+. You also have the option of setting it to just display colors, or headlines via currents, or a clock with a very low brightness. With Android 4.2 on the Nexus 4, the developer options has been hidden from the settings menu. In order to get it back, go into About Phone and tap the build number 7 times till it says you are now a developer. Now go back and press the You have developer options. This might not be important for everybody, but for people like me who like rooting and taking full control of their devices, this is pretty important. Usually, every version of Android comes with an Easter egg. With Android 4.2, you just need to keep tapping this, and that takes you to the screen. Now tap and hold it, and you get the bean slinger. And once you do this, just go back again, and now go into display, and go into daydream mode, and you have an extra bean flinger option. So with this now, when your phone is docked or charged, the beam flinger game activates. This is the Easter egg for Android 4.2. Apart from these, there are a host of subtle improvements. They range from font sizes to reflowing text in Gmail to the animations while turning on and off. The Nexus 4 also supports wireless streaming via Miracast. Miracast is an industry-wide screencast standard created by the Wi-Fi Alliance. It's built as an open alternative to Apple's AirPlay mirroring. Major TV makers like Sony and LG itself have committed to incorporating the technology into their 2013 lineup of TVs. Miracast dongles will also be sold separately. So guys, the Nexus 4 kind of comes across as the jack of all trades kind of phone. I'm not saying that it's not good. It's just that, whatever it's good at, there's some phone that already does it better. To put things in perspective, say for example when the HTC One X came out, quad-core Tegra 3, blazing fast, amazing camera, zero to little shutter lag. It was the best at a lot of things that it did. And similarly, when the Galaxy S3 came out, it was again the best at a lot of things it did. Even the staunchest HTC supporters will have to agree that there were at least a few things that the Galaxy S3, you could argue that it was better than the One X. But with the Nexus 4, it's really good, but it misses its top billing by a little. Not so much, but just by a little. Everything is there. It's a step in the right direction for Android and Google, and I really like the device, and especially at the price point, at the price that it's selling, it's amazing. And again guys, here we are comparing the Nexus 4 to devices that are almost twice as pricey. The Nexus 4 is selling for about $299 for the starter version. The Galaxy S3 here in India right now is selling at around $600, and so is the HTC One X. So, when it comes to raw performance to dollar ratio, there's nothing that even comes close to the Nexus 4. And again, it is a Nexus. That means instant updates from Google. You don't have to sit and wait for a manufacturer or carrier to update your operating system. You don't have to sit and watch newly released phones get the updates, while you have to sit on XDA developers, hitting F5 and refreshing the page every hour, at least waiting for a leak to come out so that you can flash it. And yes, Galaxy Note users, you'll know what I'm talking about. So, for the amount that you pay, this is a really, really good phone, and I would definitely have to recommend it. But there are a few things about this phone that I don't understand why LG or Google made these decisions. Well, for example, I don't understand why an 8 gig model had to be there. With the cost cutting and selling the phone for $299, yes, 8 gigs necessary. But then again, why does the top variant have to be 16 gigs? Why not 32? Why not 64? Well, it can be argued that for the price that Google is selling this phone for, Google is trying to drive people to use its cloud services, streaming services, and so on. But then again, why not let people use those services the fastest way possible? Why no LTE? Well, again, I'm from India, and getting about 2 Mbps, we have 3G over here is a big thing. So, the lack of LTE doesn't affect me in any way. But, I just wanted to put the question out there. Then again, there are some conflicting reports on the Nexus 4 actually having LTE. Some folks over in Canada have managed to get it to work. But then again, there's no way for me to test it out or, confirm it, because no LTE where I'm from. So, these are my thoughts on the Nexus 4, guys. An amazing device, and if you're on the market for something today, and if you're looking for something, for a very good phone with instant updates, from Google, for a great price point, the Nexus 4 is the way to go. That is, if you can find it somewhere. It is sold out pretty much everywhere, and I had to pay over $600 to get this phone. So that's including shipping and customs. So that's that. And again guys, once the Nexus 4 is available on Amazon, I will go ahead and add a link to it in the description. If you want to get some slim port accessories, they're again there in the description. So check it out. If you guys want to help me out, go through those links, purchase whatever you want of Amazon. Every time you guys make a say, you order something, I did make a few cents to a few bucks. So that is if you guys want to help me out. So before you go guys, make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons. I will be coming out with more videos, a comparison with the S3, with the 1X if possible, root and unroot videos. Talking about root videos, again another thing that I really like with the Nexus 4. When you go ahead and root the phone, when you go ahead and unlock the bootloader, if you go ahead and relock the bootloader later on to unroot the phone, if you want to sell it or send it in for warranty purposes, the bootloader goes back to the locked state. If you've used an HTC phone, you'd know that the bootloader, instead of going back to a locked state, goes into relocked. So this might be an issue at times with warranty, especially in places like India. And if you're going to sell the phone again, it might be an issue. But then again, I really like the fact that the Nexus 4, goes back to the locked state. And if you guys didn't understand what I was saying, don't worry about it. Just forget I said it. So that's pretty much it guys. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you like this video. Again, hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon with more videos. Till then, thanks a lot for watching again. You guys have a great day. Bye bye now.